Hi everyone, just setting it up. I didn't know there was a filters thing on it. Right, so just wait for a few more of you to come in. So we're going to be doing one of these Colourist special effects for special effects, and I've chosen the cherry Bakewell. So we're going to do the pie crust, we're going to do the filling as well with the cherry on top, just to give it a go, see how it is to do, if it's easy enough. And yeah, so I'll just zoom you in a little bit. My zoom always goes absolutely mental at the tiniest touch. Hopefully that's okay. Yeah. So how is everybody? Hope you're all well. I've just burnt myself cooking dinner. I don't even know whether you can see this. Let me see. Why have I got these filters? There we go. So I've just burnt the tip of my finger cooking dinner, and it kills. So I've had to get an ice pack out of the freezer, and I've just got it here off to the side because it really hurts. Yeah, anyway, how are you all? So hi Rose, hi Willow, hi Patricia, hi Janice, Samantha, Flavia and Alejandra. I hope you're all well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all do the pie crust, and I've got a piece of paper here. I'm just using one of the papers from the Faber-Castell sketch pad. Use any paper really, but I thought this might be nice to utilise some of that. A few more people. If it keeps going on and off, I'm sorry about that. There's not a lot I can do, it's just YouTube. Hi Kim, hi Beth, hi Melissa. Melissa is my little sister. So everyone say hi to Melissa. This book is Colourist Special Effects 4 by Helen Elliston. So yeah, I'm just going to keep putting my my finger on the ice pack just to keep it manageable. Hi Chris, hi Pickle, hello Tracy. So yeah, I've got my piece of paper. We're going to start with the pie crust, and I've got myself a pen. Now the pen that I'm using is the Unipin fine liner in 0.5. And what I'm going to do, because I can actually see underneath, I don't know whether you guys can, but I can see the basic shape of this underneath the paper without needing a light box or anything. So I'm just going to sort of roughly trace it. Now I know that it's a rough shape anyway, it's not perfectly circular, so that's good. Just going to trace it, and then we can get in there, starting the pie crust. There we go. Right. Okay, sorry, I'm just thinking. Right, okay, so these are Prismacolors, and the first one that we start off with is the beige PC997. So I've got my Prismacolors here, and I pretty much know where they all are in the pencil case, so it shouldn't take me too long to just whip them out. So we need the beige. I'll give it a bit of a sharpen. And then it says that we need to, can you see this? Yeah. It says we need to fade it lighter towards the centre. Now I'm always keeping half an eye on the final image so that we can see it, how it's meant to look, rather than, you know, it just being like a border of colour. So beige PC997, fade it lighter towards the centre. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put the beige all the way around the edge first of all, and then we can do the fade. Zoom in on what I'm doing rather than the book. But if you want to see the steps as well, then I can always keep it like this. Yes, it's a beautiful case. It's probably my favourite case actually. Hello Melissa, I've got two Melissas on now. It's a family affair because Mr. T, who's just joined, is my brother. So it's all the family are joining this afternoon, this evening even. I didn't wake up until 11:45 today. That is ridiculously late for me. I mean, I'm not an early riser, but that is just crazy. But I had the weirdest dream last night. I can't even It was just so odd. Do you ever get them dreams that they're just so intricate and detailed and real that I think it was the dream that kept me asleep, oddly enough. But yeah, it was crazy. Thank you, Kim. I need to set it up properly, the desk. I have set it up obviously for the video, but I need to find a proper sort of where I'm going to put it exactly, because I just sort of put it in front of the doorway to do the video, and now I need to find a space for it. Hi, Sammy. So I think this is about the right width of colour, the thickness, about the right thickness of colour. And then I'm just fading it in as Helen said. Had a good week so far. Kids are back to school next week here in the UK, so it's going to be a bit more of a routine now, I think, rather than this kind of limbo that we've all been stuck in. So there we go, we've got the beige. The next one is the canary yellow. It said that we have to start to define the crimp of the pastry with the canary yellow. So again, I'm just going to give it a quick sharpen. Hi, Aquarius. Okay, so it looks as if we've got canary yellow all the way around. So I'm going to do that first, and then we can put the crimps in. So I don't know about you guys, but this is looking very washed out on my screen. How's the colour and the what do they call it? What's that word beginning with E that they call on cameras when it's too blown out? Kim, no, I'm not scared to send the boys to school at all, really. I've got my own opinions on COVID-19, and I really don't want to get into it because it is such a divisive topic, and really there's two types of people when it comes to COVID. It's the people that are really seriously worried about it and scared by it, etc. And then there's the people who think it's a bit of a how to describe it without getting in, getting political, and I don't want to say think it's a hoax, but yeah. But anyway, I don't want to get into it because I'll end up dividing the chat. But no, I'm not scared of sending the boys to school at all. I am annoyed that they are going to have to wear masks at school because I think it's completely unnecessary. But what can you do? Looks okay to me. My tablet washes the colour out sometimes. Okay, so maybe it's just me then. Right. So it says we've got to start to define the crimps of the pastry. So we kind of have to do a bit of a jagged sort of look on this. So I'm just going to see how I can achieve that. It might not be very obvious to you online, but we'll give it a go. So really, if I can just get another pencil to show you what I'm doing, that's the right thing that I'm meant to be doing. But I think that's the kind of pattern that we're going for. Right. Yeah, I think that's kind of what you're meant to do, is this sort of curved line. But even though it looks a bit weird now, I'm sure once we've put all the other details in, it will make more sense to the eye. I don't want to sort of lose the curvature of it, because I often do that when I'm doing something that requires it to be the same all the way around. Claire, what star sign are you? Gemini, Melissa. You should know this. You're supposed to be my sister. You know, you're supposed to know everything about me. I love to wind her up. She's only 9, bless her. She's just started her new channel, and she's already had hate off it from somebody, some idiot troll the other night. And I don't know why they do it. I mean, I get it sometimes, but I just ignore it. But to a little girl, you know, who's not doing anything wrong, I don't know. Okay, so I've done what I think is a crimped look. Now the next step is 50% French grey. Okay, let's grab that one. And then it says, fade it into the centre, fade toward the crust, be soft, you can always reapply later. So I need to think. So it looks as if we've got the French grey all the way around in the circle, so all the way around the border, which I'll do first, and then we sort of add some of the French grey over the top of the yellow crimps that we've just done. And again, just keeping one eye on the finished pencil piece at all times to sort of make sure that we don't go too harsh with it, like the digital people are just horrible for no reason. I'm sure it was just another kid who's, you know, just decided to pick on her for some reason. So, okay, I'm going to do, she said to go light and be soft to reapply later. So I'm just going to do a really light border all the way around the edge, which I'm guessing is just a bit of shadow. And then a little bit of shadow on each crimp as well to make it look raised. Do you still do TikTok? Yeah, I've got a TikTok. I've only got one video on it, Colour with Claire TikTok at the moment. What was the video? It was me doing some sort of colouring tutorial, I think. My memory is, honestly, I think I need to see somebody about it, because my memory is absolutely shocking. I mean, the other day I did the review of the Black Widow pencils, the new Monarch pencils, and I said that you couldn't get them open stock. But you can, you just have to contact Albert through the Black Widow Facebook page to get them sent to you open stock. And I did know that, I've been told it before, and I think I've even posted about it before, but my memory is that bad, I just completely blanked on that. So if you ever sort of hear me contradict myself, it's probably because I've completely forgotten. Okay, so I've done all the way around in the grey. Don't know whether you can really see it properly, but it has just given it a little bit of a shadow inside the border, which I'm guessing is going to be a shadow from the tin, the edge of the tin. What is Max doing? Melissa, Max is upstairs. I think he's on Fortnite, I think. Sorry, just catching up on your comments. Now then, so we need to do the crimps with a bit of this grey, but I don't want to go all the way in, because if you look at the finished piece, it doesn't take over the entirety of the crimp shape. It's just a little bit of shadow. I'm doing these, and Helen's just an absolute master at tutorials, and I always worry that it's never going to turn out as good, but again, it's a bit of fun, isn't it? It's a bit of trying to up-level your skill and seeing what you can do and doing things you didn't realise you could do. Yeah, and I mean, I know I'm only 32, but I think, you know, two of my 4 grandparents have died of dementia, or with dementia. And I don't know whether that's got anything to do with it. I mean, it's not, you know, I don't think it's as bad as I'm forgetting things every 5 minutes like Dory, but it's, I've just got a terrible, terrible memory. I've got quite a good long-term memory. Like, I remember things that happened like a long time ago, But yeah, it's probably just one of them things. I'm getting old, guys. I think that's what it is. Oh, good, Joanne. Have you decided which one you're going to do first? I've taken ages deciding which one I was going to do for a video because, well, I just couldn't choose. And I didn't want to do something that was too easy, and I didn't want to do something that I thought might take me too long to do. So I've gone with this. I was going to do the toast, but I think that might be one of the more advanced tutorials, the toast. It's a little bit scary, that one. Yes, Melissa, I'm on my own downstairs. Bless her. Yes, Kim, that's a very, very good point. And that's probably what it is, to be fair. As you probably know if you've watched my channel, I'm a very, very anxious person. So yeah, that probably is it. So hopefully I'm doing this correctly. So I'm just bringing a little bit of the grey into the crimp, but still retaining the integrity of the original crimp. Right, so what's next? I'll leave that out because I think we might have to come back to that one. And I'll just give myself a little 2 minutes on the ice pack for the burnt finger. Okay, so burnt ochre PC943. This adds a golden cooked effect blend. Right, okay, so burnt ochre. That one's a new pencil. I had that one replaced recently, isn't it? And it's thickening it a little bit towards the edge and making sure it's more thin toward the centre. So let's give that a go. I'm just trying to thicken it up a little bit now. So it's almost like a comma. So it's thicker at the top and then tapers off to a point. What is your favourite food? Melissa, this is all things that you should know, being my little sister. My favourite food is anything that's bad for you, really. Pasta, pizza. Such a good example to the younger generation, aren't I? Pasta, pizza, chocolate, anything that tastes scrummy. Yeah, that's my favourite food. I love all foods. I regret only buying the 72 count of Prismacolor. Do you think the Black Widows will complement them, the new set? Yeah, for sure. I'm not entirely certain what Prismacolors you're missing from the 72 to the 150, but I'm guessing it's going to be those really, really light tones, and you know, those kind of unusual colours, which the Monarch pencils would just complement perfectly. So yeah, I think if you are not going to go for the 150, or even if you are, the Monarch pencils are, they still have those unique colours in there, and they're even lighter than the Prismacolor equivalents. So yeah, I would say for sure, if you want to get the Monarchs and you don't want to get the whole set of Prismas, they really would go very nicely together. Hi Midnight. Okay, so I've done a bit of burnt ochre. Hopefully I might just do a little bit of a thicker layer of that around the edge. Hopefully that's looking something like it should be looking. Very, very rough, but it's definitely got that look to it, hasn't it? Yeah, exactly. I don't think you need to shell out for the Prismacolors if those are the colours that you're interested in, those light tones, and they're the ones that you're missing. Definitely the Monarchs would do for that. Obviously they're not the same type of pencil, but if you are somebody who can colour with light layers as well as kind of harder pressure, then you'll be absolutely fine. What colour pencils would be good to buy for a Prismacolor lover? Polys and I just don't vibe. Yeah, the thing about polys and Prismas, as you'll know if you've heard me talking about them before, are that they are completely different pencils. And if you a Prismacolor user and you go into using polychromos, you're gonna be disappointed because they handle so differently, and you have to change your application technique in order to get the best out of them. So with Prismacolors, as we know, you can pretty much go in and burnish and put a hard layer down, hard pressure straight away, and you don't have to worry about layering if you don't want to, and you get a really bright, bold result. With the polychromos, if you did that same thing, it would just be very hard and streaky and just not good. With the polys, you need to do the layers and just build it up really lightly and softly. So yeah, your original question was what pencils would be good to try for a Prismacolor lover. So you want something that's a bit softer. Now I haven't come across anything that's as soft as Prismas. I think Castle Arts are quite, well, they're still a hard pencil, but they are on the softer side, and you can do that hard pressure burnishing type of colouring with them. So Castle Arts, of course, you've got the Charisma colours, which are like the original Prismas, but they are very difficult to find, very expensive because they've been discontinued. So yeah, but I'll try the Castle Arts. They're quite nice. Practicing Black Widows have all the sets, definitely different than Prismas. Yes, they are. They are very much a harder pencil, even though they're not as hard as something like a Polychromos. Just doing my first page, struggling for colour alongs with a limited palette because I don't have the full set. Yeah, understand that. I live in California. What time is it in the UK? It is 2 minutes to 7 p.m, Melissa. Don't have the patience. Castle Art's nice, but not as pigmented. No, exactly. They're never going to be as good because of the ingredients, I suppose. And there's more binder used and less pigment, you know, in cheaper pencils. So it's very difficult to get something that compares to Prismacolor. Right. Next step is dark brown PC946, which I have here. I'll give it a quick sharpen. Castle Art or Black Widows? That's really hard because I think Castle Art are slightly softer. So if you wanted to go by the softness of it, I would say Castle Art. But Black Widows, I think, have superior colours, and I don't know, I really like the Black Widows. But again, I think they're better if you layer them. So it really depends on what kind of colorist you are, I suppose. So dark brown, this gives depth to the crimps in the pastry crust. So I'm just looking at all the areas where she's put the dark brown. I think it's just a touch on top of everything that we've done. It doesn't look as if she's put it right around the edge, so we'll just do a little bit of this on top of the crimps, keeping a sharp pencil just to give a bit of depth. Now to me it looks as though this could do with a bit of blending, because I'm comparing it to the finished article over here and it's certainly not as blended. So maybe we can come back in with the beige. Maybe that's a step later on, is it? No? But if we come back in with the beige, that might serve to blend it in properly. Okay, so don't you worry, Kim, you keep talking. I always worry that I'm not talking enough on these things, so please keep talking. Keep asking me things or giving me things to talk about. I'm actually quite excited to get to the fill-in stage of this tutorial because it just looks lovely, all that icing. I don't actually like cherry bakewells, but to look at, they look lovely, don't they? I'm not into little cakey things like that really, and I don't really like jam, so It takes me out of it. I want to see your new tattoo. Oh my goodness. I don't think I can. I've got a long sleeve shirt on. I don't think I can show you properly, but yeah, it is almost fully healed. There's just a few spots on his eyes and on the face where there was a lot of colour layering to get the skin tone and things, which haven't quite healed yet. They're just slightly scabbed. But I was amazed that I didn't get any scabs apart from that this time. I used this new tattoo stuff. I don't know whether you saw my Instagram stories a couple of days ago. I was showing the tattoo stuff that I used. It's absolutely amazing. I've had plenty of tattoos, but I've never had one which didn't scab up and lose loads of colour. This one hasn't. But I tell you what, the thing that's annoyed me the most about it is the amount of hate that I've got for this tattoo, which I would have expected it from people who don't like horror films and they think, oh God, why have you got a cannibal tattooed on your arm forevermore? Which I was ready to deal with because, you know, I just love horror films and it's an iconic character. So I wasn't really bothered about that. The hate that I was getting was very much about the likeness of the tattoo to Anthony Hopkins, which apparently looked more like Steve Buscemi or Obama, or I even had Frank Sinatra. But overwhelmingly Steve Buscemi, which really put me down for a few days actually. And I'm thinking I might go back and get a few more details added if possible, but to get it to look like the reference photo that I gave him, which was originally a coloured pencil drawing. So it wasn't even a photograph of Anthony Hopkins. But yeah, I was a bit down about it, but hopefully we can get a bit more detail put in, or, you know, if we can't, then we can't. I'm happy with it. It's just rubber's got pigment all over it, so that's great. Let's try this one. Oh well, so I've got a bit of pigment on there, but never mind, we'll have to just incorporate that into the design. Where are we? Yeah, exactly, Sammy. It is my body. You love it. It's what you love that matters. Always people with too many opinions. Yeah, I absolutely adore the tattoo. I don't know if I put up the original drawing, the coloured pencil drawing of it. It's absolutely fantastic, and it really does have that look of Anthony Hopkins, even though it's in cartoon form. And I don't quite think the face on my tattoo, if you compare them side by side, it doesn't really stand up. But again, I really appreciate how more difficult it is with a needle and ink and skin, than a drawing. Okay, so next we have light grey outside of the crust. So for light grey, I'm going to go with, now seeing as we had a French, didn't we? So shall I go with a light French? Let's see how light this one is. Yeah, that'll do. So I'm going to go around with the 30% French grey all the way around for the edge of the tin foil, what your little cake would come with. And then I'm going to try and blend it a little bit with that beige. It's not a step on the actual tutorial, but I want to try and blend it a little, see if it helps. I do love it. I do wish it was slightly more reminiscent of the original drawing. Hopefully, I have spoken to the tattooist, and I know how busy he is at the minute, but he has said that once it's settled, he could try and put a little bit more detail in, but it is such a small face. I appreciate how difficult that is. Thank you, Melissa. Again, the butterfly tattoo, I adore it. Obviously, it was something I wanted. I've a couple of times since I've had it done, I've thought, should I have had it done? You know, could I have had something better on my hand? But I think it's just that, I think every tattoo that someone has, they always have a little bit of like oh God, should I have done it? But you know what? I'm not bothered. It is what it is. It makes me unique. And yeah. Border all the way around there. Now the next thing is to use a darker grey to blend or blur some areas. So if I bring in, now this doesn't look very French, it looks a little bit like a cool grey. So if I bring in, let me just test this one, where's my paper? Did have some paper like 2 seconds ago. I'll test this grey over the edge. Yeah, so this one is the one I'm going to use. It's the 70% cool grey. Yes, on to the next tattoo. My next tattoo is going to be Elvis themed. It's not going to be his actual face, but it is going to be something Elvis themed. I'm thinking the TCB lightning logo, if anybody knows of that. And I'm even thinking of having it right across my forearm down there. Now, I've got a tattoo already. I've got some writing. It's not great writing up my inner forearm. And I want to have that covered with the dark mark from Harry Potter that all of the Death Eaters have on their forearms. So it'd be awesome if I could have that done. Hi, Regina. I'm very well, thank you. I hope you are too. So the next one in this tutorial is darker grey, blend, blur some areas. So again, I'm going to keep an eye on this very finished piece so that I can see how it's meant to look. But I think we're just meant to, okay, it's even darker grey than that actually. I think I'll go with the 90%. Give it a sharpen. Yes, that's a bit better. So just putting little bits in here and there, I think. So I've got the finished one up here as well to look at. So if I just see where she's put little bits of this dark grey, I think there's some pretty much all the way around the edge, skipping a few little areas. So that's what I'll do first. My ice is melting. I think my finger's okay now though, so I'm going to move it out of the way because it's actually getting water everywhere. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of this all the way around the edges. Claire, hi. Hi Alison, have you seen the Hannibal TV series? I have, and I love it. So I would say that it's a completely different thing to obviously the original Hannibal Lecter film, Silence of the Lambs, etc. It is completely different, and I love it for being different, you know. So I love Anders Lashif. Oh my goodness, he's gorgeous. But yeah, the Hannibal TV series is great. I've got to admit, at some points it did, I don't want to say baffle me, because it wasn't, I understood everything, but it can be seen as quite pretentious in some ways, because it's you know, things that they say don't always make sense, and it's all a bit odd, but that sort of adds to it. I don't know, it's really great though. I think it needs to be picked up for a 4th series. I'm hoping Netflix will pick it up, because there's a massive fan base behind it. Yeah, so I'm hoping it'll get picked up. Yes. Oh, sorry, I've already answered that. Love you, Melissa. Yeah, it was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. And I love the relationship between Will Graham and Hannibal. So yeah. Right, so I've done a little bit of a jagged edge around this. I've now got to add in a few bits around the outer edge, but again, very sort of jagged and not preformed properly, if you know what I mean. Watching Lucifer, I'm loving it. Do you know what? That is one of the things that I definitely want to watch. It's on the watch list. I've just started watching The Boys, because Jensen is going to be in the 3rd season of The Boys. So that's the first thing he's going to be doing after Supernatural. So I thought I need to get watching The Boys. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's certainly different. But yeah, Lucifer is something that I have always wanted to watch. Is it Tom Ellis that plays Lucifer? Yeah, I've heard it's really, really good. Yeah, exactly. Very theatrical. All the odd jarring music and the weird sort of flowery language that they used. But yeah, I think he's great. Okay, so again, just putting little bits around the edges, and hoping this looks something like a cherry Bakewell pie crust. So really all I'm doing is kind of putting this shaky movement into my hand as I put the colour down, so that it lands in some areas and in other areas it doesn't, and it's very kind of organic and not put down in any particular shape at all. We're just kind of giving that impression to find out what Jensen will be doing after Supernatural. I know that Jared is doing Walker Texas Ranger, which he'll be fantastic in. I'm not entirely sure what Misha's going to be doing yet. I'm pretty sure it was something to do with politics. I think that's really what he wanted to be doing from the beginning and just became an actor sort of by accident. But yeah, not quite sure on the boys, but Telly hobby. So yeah, got to get up to speed too. Lucifer, fantastic, so charismatic. Yeah, I need to watch it, definitely. I think it's on Amazon Prime, isn't it? That's like The Boys as well. The Boys is, if you haven't seen it, that's on Amazon Prime, and it's basically like an anti-hero type thing. So it is quite adult in theme and things like that, but it is basically about superheroes. But yeah, it's really quite funny and fresh. It's good to watch. Now I'm going to put a couple of little horizontal lines sort of up and down from the 2 edge lines that I've done, just to give that crimped look to the tin as well. This might not be something you can see from where you are, but I will bring it up to camera in a bit, and then you'll be able to hopefully see the little details a little bit better. I'm just using the very edge of my pencil for this because it has to be sort of very thin, crisp lines. But it's almost as well like you sort of just put in little shadows of colour down, and it just gives the effect to the eye rather than having any kind of plan to it, if that makes sense. How do you record your live streams? Do it on my phone, Melissa. I can show you how to do it next time you come round. I did Melissa a little intro for her channel, for her little gaming channel. Okay, so I've put a few little horizontal lines and just thickening out some of the lines that I've already done around the edge and making sure that it is all contained and there's none of these flicky lines that are coming out of the edge, because that wouldn't make any sense. So again, just thickening some of the lines, and really just keep looking back at this and seeing what needs. I don't know if I went off there for a second. I was just replying to Shana or Shayna. But I was just saying that I would recommend you get some of Johanna Basford's books as a sort of initial colouring book to get you started. But again, it does depend on what kind of thing you like to colour. So let me know what it is you like to colour and I can probably recommend something. So I think that that's looking okay for the edge at the moment. It's a little bit wobbly, but I think it's meant to be. So hi Catherine. So I'm going to get that beige again and give a blending a go on the inside of the crust, which again, it's not a tip that's on here, but I will see if it helps any. I'm just going over all of it, and then with hard pressure, hopefully it will just blend it out a little bit, make it look less harsh. Oh, we meant tutorial books. Right, okay, so obviously Helen's books, like the one that I'm doing now, the Colourist special effects books, there's 4 of them in total, but all of them and any of them are really, really good. Also for tutorial books, you've got the Colour Workshop book by Rachel Reinert. So if you're Amazon, look on Amazon for that. That's a really, really good book. You've also got The Secrets of Colouring 1 and 2 by Jennifer Zimmerman. Again, they're on Amazon, really brilliant books. I'm trying to think of some other colouring tutorial books. I know there have been a few, but I think they're the top ones. Whether it looks any better or worse. Gone blurry, sorry about that. It should be It shouldn't be, because mine isn't showing as blurry on my camera or on my tablet. So I don't know if it's just some connection issue. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Brian. Right, so, how's that looking? I don't know if that's looking any better to you guys or what. I'm just going to have another quick look at the original and see if there's anything else I can do a bit better. So it does say here that we need to put a bit of white Posca in to get the shine and the highlights on the tip, and that's what I would normally use. But I have been gifted by lovely Sarah some of this PH Martin's pen white, which is a liquid white that's originally designed for technical pens or airbrushes. Now I don't have either of those. What I do have is a teeny weeny paintbrush. And this pen white is so bright and opaque, it is like having the ink of a Posca, or even better really, but in this liquid form. So what I do, it's quite difficult, it's on a pipette you see. So what I do is I just put a little bit on the tip of the brush from the pipette. Hopefully you can see. You can just touch it to the areas you want and brush it on, rather than having to worry about Posca pens clogging, or having to, you know, shake them and scribble and mess about with them. You can literally just brush this on and it's so opaque. So that's what I'm doing. There we go. So get yourself a little tiny paintbrush, get yourself some of this pen white. I think it's about £5 or something. It's not too expensive. It's on Amazon. And I just think it's a lot better and more precise, and you're not messing around with clog nibs and things. So yeah, it does take a little bit of time to dry, which I guess is the only drawback. But I like it, so I might even do a video about that, just to make people aware that aren't going to watch this stream, that there is an alternative way of doing this. You could do it with a thin and it spreads nicely. So there we go. Now I've put some of the highlights in. Hopefully that's looking a little bit more like a tin. I'm just going to get some tissue to wipe that off. I'm not entirely sure what it's made of. It's not made of acrylic, but you definitely need to wash your brush after. Okay. It's called Dr. Martin's Pen White. So it looks like this. It comes in a pipette bottle. It's on Amazon. I think it's about £5. It's not expensive. And obviously it's going to last ages if all you're doing is highlights. And yeah, get yourself a little thin brush. So the one I was using has disappeared. Where is it? The one I was using, I think it was a Frisk masking brush. How can you put something down and it disappears? But yeah, get yourself a really thin paintbrush anyway. So that was that. So I think we've done the pie crust and the edge. Now, I know it might look great to you guys watching on camera because it's quite far away and you can't see how I'm messing up. So I'm going to bring it to camera and hopefully you'll be able to see how kind of rough and ready it looks when you're looking at it close up. But, you know, it looks like a pie crust. What can you say? It's effective. So, yeah, and it was quite simple to do as well. Okay, I have 3 of the Colourist special effects. Can't remember the artist's name. She came out with the 4th. Yes, Brian, this is the 4th one. It's Helen Elliston who made the book. She's absolutely lovely lady. Deserves all the success that she gets. She truly, truly does. And it's a fantastic book. Recently started colouring my first Kirby Roseanne's picture. Found myself avoiding it out of fear, and messing it up is quite intimidating. So yeah, Alison, I think we've all been there, and I'm still there sometimes with certain books. Sorry, that blooming ice pack is melting everywhere. Yeah, we've all been there, and I'm, like I said, I'm still there with certain books and things that I get quite worried about doing. But at the end of the day, if you don't try, then you're never going to know. That's a song, isn't it? And yeah, you've just got to enjoy it and embrace it. And if it looks crap at first, it looks crap, you know, but it's the fun of doing it. And to be honest, Kirby's illustrations are really good ones to do if you're not sure about where to put colours, because all of his heavy shading, it just tells you, it gives it a lot of dimension, and you know, it looks fantastic. So I'm using Prismacolor pencils, Deborah. So we need to go on to the cherry Bakewell pie filling now. And apparently we need burnt ochre 943, fade out and burnish using white. So we need burnt ochre and we need white. Okay. I think you'll surprise yourself, Alison, if you do just go for it. Like I say, Kirby's designs are very forgiving because they just tell you where to put everything, you know, dark and light. Okay, so Melissa, you know I've had loads and loads. Thank you, Lou. Hi, hope you're well. So apparently the first step is to put a little bit of burnt ochre all the way around the inner edge of the pie crust and then sort of fade it inward using white. So that's what we'll do. Okay. This is where I kind of see all the bits that I've not done that good, but I'll just outline all of the crimps first. And then we can maybe go back in again with the beige and fill in any areas that look a bit weird. Yeah, exactly. Pickle brings up a good point there, because if you can afford it, and I'm not saying you'll be able to, but if you can afford it, try and get yourself another copy of Kirby's books, or one of the books. So for example, get yourself a copy of Colour Morphia, or, you know, whatever, whichever book you want. I think they're about £5 usually. For a brand new copy. Try and get yourself another one that you can practice in if you are worried. Getting a practice book really, really helps. I've got several copies of Joanna Basford's books just to practice tutorials in and practice techniques before I go ahead and do the full thing. So I think that might really help if you can do it. Gosh, I think I'm messing this up, you know, it looks so weird. I think I'm doing it too jagged. It's supposed to look a bit smoother according to this. What's a good idea as well is to, if you've got Kirby's older books and they've got the hide and seek elements in them, at the back of the book you've got the key of, you know, where all the different things were in the book, and maybe you can use those little thumbnails to practice. You know, maybe if you're undecided on a colour scheme, you can very, very quickly colour in one of those thumbnails, just kind of block colour it very quickly with a colour scheme and see how that looks, and just maybe use those as a bit of a practice. Yeah, exactly. Buy the book secondhand if you can. Now, I do mention this, I have got a buy and sell colouring book and supply group on Facebook. It's called Buy and Sell Your Colouring Supplies, or Buy, Sell and Swap Your Colouring Supplies. And there's quite a few people posting currently. We need more members though, because if there's only a few members, hardly anything's ever going to get posted. So yeah, there's loads of books and things on there going at cheap. So hopefully that might help you as well. All right, thanks, Joanne. See you later. Just looking at the comments again. Yeah. Really, Brian? I'd love to see that. I think everybody's got creativity within them. It's just whether or not you have the self-esteem and the confidence to bring it out. Or whether you've really realised that that's something you might be interested in, you know. So I really don't think I've done this how it's meant to be done. But anyway, we'll carry on. So now that I've done a bit of a fuzzy inner edge on that, we will burnish it out or blend it out with the white like Helen suggested. Kim, it's for anywhere in the world. It just so happens that at the moment we've got more UK members than anywhere else. So most of the things that are posted currently are for the UK, but there are a couple of US people on there and other countries. Again, we need more Right, so fade out. So we've got to try and fade it out. Again, I'm just going to look at the finished one, which is down here, and see what she means. So just fade it out. So I'm just going to blur it, and hopefully that will help it look not so weird. So I'm using the white as a blurring tool. It's actually working quite well. I'll bring it up to camera again in a bit because I'm not sure entirely what detail you can see from where you are. On my tablet it doesn't look very clear, so I think using this as a bit of a blurring tool has really helped. What do you mean utensil related? I only talk modern English on this channel. What is Shane doing? He's upstairs, pleasing himself. I don't know, he's probably watching some anime or something. That's usually what he's doing. Yes, I can zoom in more. Just give me a sec. Oh, that's too much. Is that helping? Hopefully it's a little clearer. And again, I'm going to get that beige and fill in some of the areas that look a bit odd. See how weird it looks close up? I'm just looking on my tablet. Okay, a little bit more of this burnt ochre. I'm just going over some of the areas of the pie crust. Thanks, Brian. I'll take a look in a bit. So this isn't exactly how I was expecting it to turn out, but again, I think it's one of those things that's effective enough to for people to know exactly what it is, which is basically all I go for with my colouring. If someone can recognise something for what it is without being told what it is, then you know you must have done something right. Hi, Bane. I don't know what this whole deal is with Alfred. You know, can't you just speak plainly, normally? Kind of creepy. Okay. So I've put a little bit more of the burnt ochre in, and hopefully that's defined the crimps a little bit more. Now, next step is to use 30% cool grey just on the inside of what we've done. And again, I'm just going to have a quick look at what that means on the pencil drawing. 30% cool grey. This, when I say this, you can't see what I mean now. I'm looking at the original pencil drawing that Helen has done. Let's see if I can just move this up a little bit so you can see what I can see. Yeah, so this is the finished coloured pencil bit, and that's what I keep sort of referring to as I go with the steps. So putting a little bit of this cool grey on the inner rim of the Bakewell. I think we've gone a little bit too thick with the crust, but you know what, it looks homemade. It doesn't look maybe like something mass-produced, which isn't always a bad thing. It's imperfect and we love it anyway. Thank you, Pickle. Liam, do you know this Alfred person? Are you this Alfred person? Because that would be just like my brother, to just do something silly like that. Okay, so again, just putting little bits in, keep referring back to this. I think this is more like a shadow, like to make the edge look like it's, the icing is on top of it as a layer. Okay. I've done a little bit of the grey there, again, just referring back. It looks a little bit different in certain areas. And it's still, on Helen's example, it's still kept this sort of look, like this, all the way around. Whereas mine has gone a little bit too straight now. So maybe if I can just add in a little bit more of this shape, like a clouds kind of shape. I don't know, we'll see what it looks like when we've finished it and when it's kind of all burnished and looking better. The next thing is we need to do the cherry. So just making sure I can see all of this, we need to do a little cherry shape first of all. So, I think it might be better if I do that with a red pencil rather than, you know, like a black liner. So it says that we need to use poppy red, so that's the one I'm going to go with, poppy red, and try and make a bit of a cherry looking thing. Now, because it's cherry, and it looks to me like it's kind of an oval that's a bit squished, so kind of maybe like this. Yeah, that's all right. Okay, poppy red, medium pressure. So we fill all this in with poppy red, medium pressure, and then burnish to smooth using the white pencil, which we have here. Just make sure, and then we've burnished it. So we've got a smooth base for the cherry. Hey up, Sean. Never bought these books, they look good, but I don't have Prismacolors. You don't really need to have Prismacolors, it's just that that's what Helen uses because they're the most kind of popular and well-known pencil, probably, maybe. But you can always convert them to whatever colours it is you have, whatever pencil set you have. And I've done a couple of conversion charts, so you don't really need to have Prismas, but I can understand what you mean. I think my favourite thing about this so far is the tin around the edge. I think those white highlights made a lot of difference, didn't they, to making it look metallic. So we've done that bit of the cherry. What's next? We need a crimson red to burnish and smooth using poppy red so as not to lighten the colour. Right, don't really know what she means by that. Crimson red, burnish. Oh, I see. Okay, so we need to put this bit of crimson red down where she said which is basically all the way along the bottom edge of the cherry, and then leaving certain areas light so that we have the highlights that are falling on the cherry. And I guess you can sort of do this wherever you like, but I'll follow her kind of template. Okay. So we've got a few little bits of white on the cherry, and I think we're going to be putting in some white highlights anyway, so I'm not too fussed about where I'm putting those at the moment. So we've got, it looks a bit like a dog's nose now. You can't see, can you, because of the glare? Let me move down here a bit. So that's what we will do. I don't want to lose those areas completely, so I'm not going to burnish a lot. And then it says pomegranate with hard pressure. So I'll just grab that one. So this, again, it's kind of where we put the crimson red just now, but in less quantity. So a bit of a thinner layer here and there to deepen it. Hi, I don't know if it's Kelly or Celie or Sally, but could be Kelly. Hi anyway, and welcome. Let's put this all the way around the top. Pomegranate is a great addition actually, because it has that really pinkish undertone, but it's nice and deep for the red as well. Okay. Next is terracotta, so we're deepening it even further with a very, very dark colour, the terracotta. I say very dark, it is compared to the reds that we're using at the moment. It is very much a brownish red. I'm completely off here. Please tell me if I go off camera, because I do that a lot. So let me just look what we have to do. Terracotta, deepen the red areas and blend. So an even sort of terracotta, which is a very, very crumbly colour in the Prismas. So we've just got to be careful that we don't have too much debris. And that's another thing, is we're trying to make this icing look white, and I'm guessing we're going to have to be doing some blending on the white bit, and it might just turn out a little bit odd looking because we've got a lot of dust and pigment from the Prismas. Yeah, Liam, I think it's the connection. I think YouTube does this quite a lot. It kind of reconnects and disconnects all the time. Okay, so the next step, it says to deepen the red areas and blend. So let's try that. We'll get that crimson red and deepen those a little bit. And take a quick look at the end result. So it's not looking too far off that at the moment. Okay. Any of you that have accepted me as friends on Instagram, I need to apologise for my account. Hi Sean. Sorry, just catching up on the comments. Right, so next step is, yeah, so we're going to have to do the icing, which is, even though it's white, we're going to need to make some depth in there. So we need 30% cool grey, which we've already got out, and that goes, oh, hang on, 30% cool grey in these areas, which hopefully you can see where she's indicated, and then white all over. So I think we are going to get some smudging going on, but hey ho. Right, so a bit over here in like a crescent moon shape. So I'm just going to plan that in really quickly. And it sort of attaches to the crust here and there. And it's quite thick as well, but again, we have done this in a smaller scale. The crust is very, very thick. It's far too thick really, but as I say, it's homemade. Thank you very much, Alfred. And then there's another kind of crescent-y looking shape on the bottom, but I'm trying not to make it too distinctly round. So I want to keep it a bit rough looking. And again, that sort of attaches to the edges. Yeah, this is homemade. It's very much something that, you know, it's not done to a mass-produced standard. You wouldn't find these at your local Tesco. They'd be in some sort of odds and ends bin. A little bit more around the edge. And again, just keeping a look always at that very last step. Now there's also a little bit around the cherry itself. She's looking quite nice. And then it's the white, isn't it? White all over to blend it. So let's see how much little dots of pigment we end up spreading everywhere. Hi Kirsty, thank you. True fact, I remember Helen showing me this as a whip as her jam tart, and I mentioned if it had a cherry it'd be a Bakewell tart, and here we go. So this is all down to Sean then, that this has been included. Okay, so I'm blending it all over. I'm trying not to hit the red of the cherry, so I don't want that colour transfer. Because I'm using hard pressure, we've got a lot of dust coming off this pencil, and there is some red pigment that's just transferred itself, but you know, maybe it's a little bit jam that the baker got on her fingers, and this is all the things we've got to try and convince ourselves that imperfections are not a bad thing. Now I think if we look back at the original, it's slightly softer and thicker, so I'm just going to go back in with 30% and just add a little bit more here and there, so that it just looks, I don't know, slightly less planned. I don't know if that really gives the same look as Helen's does. Helen's looks, it just looks like a flipping cherry Bakewell, doesn't it? Whereas mine, I'm not sure about these grey shadows that I've put on. I don't know if they really work, but keep going at it anyway. Smoothing it out nicely. A Greg's Cherry Bakewell. I've never looked at a Greg's Cherry Bakewell. What do they look like? A bit rough and ready? Yeah, the white pencil is incredible, isn't it? It really is a fantastic tool just to blur everything and blend it. I mean, you can use a blender pencil, but I prefer using the white sometimes, even though it can desaturate the colour a little bit. So you've got to watch out for that. It makes it look a little bit milky. Yeah, probably Pickle. I probably need to just step back from it, but yeah, I do love it. I do love it. It's just me being, you know, my usual self. Right, so maybe I just need to add a little bit of a darker touch here and there to give it a bit more of a difference in certain areas, so it's looking slightly darker and more shadowed. And then a few more darker areas at the crust edge. Just here and there. Oh right, bigger, I see. Yeah, I think the the thing is just my proportions. I'm really terrible at proportions, so should have made the crust a bit thinner, but anyway. Book arrived super fast today. Thank you, Kirsty. Enjoy it. Kirsty was one of the recipients of some free books that I was giving away in my Buy, Sell and Swap Your Colouring Supplies Facebook group. I had quite a few different colouring books on my shelf that weren't getting used and needed some love. A lot of them were next to new, so I'd probably coloured 1 or 2 images from them. Some of them were actually new, and I decided to give them away for free because I got them for free and I wouldn't really feel right, you know, asking for money for them. But yeah, Kirsty was one of them. I can't remember which book you had now, Kirsty. But yeah, enjoy it. I hope you get a lot of use out of it. So I'm pretty happy with that icing. Now that I've darkened some of the areas of the icing, some are a bit lighter, some are a bit darker, it looks better, I think. Now the next thing, at the next step, shouldn't I? Oh, Sean, that's dark. I love it. Beautiful beast. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, please join, Kim. The more people that join, the more we're going to have to buy and sell. Right, so I'm just putting a little bit of that 90% cool grey in the areas that I already deepened myself with the 30%. Maybe a little bit more deeper colour and depth will make it look even better. But I am going to go over with the white and blur it out again because it's just too harsh at the moment as is. So again, just bits and pieces of dark areas here and there. And then I'll bring my white in and blur it, but not completely lose it. So you have to sort of experiment with your pressure. Too much pressure is going to almost erase what you've done. So play around with that. Creaky chair. That's the next thing I need to get. I need to get a really decent, comfortable chair. Any chair selling companies out there want to send me a chair for test and review, please do. Not that there's anyone of that kind of employment watching at the moment, but just in case. Thank you, Kim. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Right, next step is the white Posca pen highlight, and I think that's the end. So instead of using the Poscas, we are going to do that pH white again. Now, where did I put that paintbrush? Ah, got it. Ah, it's an Arteza brush, so I thought it was a Frisk. I've got several different brushes. Thanks, Lou. Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? Just being able to motorise a table. I don't know, they've been around for years, but I hadn't heard of them before, and I thought it was incredible. Really want a gamer chair. They look very comfy. Yeah, I need something comfortable. Right, so let me just show you what I'm doing. If you weren't here earlier, I've got the Dr. PH Martin's pen white. Comes in a little glass receptacle like this, and I'm just putting a bit on the end of the brush, and then we're going to do our highlights. So I do want to refer to what Helen's done here, which is quite difficult to also have you on camera. Let me zoom out a bit, and let's see where she's put her highlights. So just over here, and I'm not being precise with the highlight because I want it to look a little bit, well, I want it to look more natural and realistic. Do a couple of dots up here, maybe a little bit just on the edge of the cherry. I don't want to go too far, but because I can go far with white, I can do white dots absolutely everywhere and it's just too much. But I think that might do. Let me just zoom in again so that you can see this close up. Not that close. Bring my phone out a little bit because I don't want to get the glare, you see, of the top light, but hopefully you can see that. How is it looking? I hope it looks good. But yeah, so I would definitely recommend, if you're sick of blooming gel pens clogging up on you and things, and you just want to get some really precise highlights, get yourself this Dr. P.H. Martin's Pen White. It's on Amazon, super cheap, and it will last you ages and ages. So there we go. That is, you've enjoyed it. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And I think if we just compare it to Helen's, obviously it's not fantastic, but it's looking something like, and there's bits and bobs that I could do to it. You know, now I'm looking, these areas look a bit darker, so I could come in here with some of this 90%, you know, and do a little bit more on it. But I think it's pretty much done. It does look quite edible though, doesn't it? I think the pie crust could be better. I'm quite pleased with the cherry and the icing's not too bad. But it's all right for a first go. It's my first go, so I'm not too upset with that. Just using that white again to just blur it. That's made a slight bit of difference just to the edge. It's all about building the depth, isn't it? That's what gives you the look of realism, I suppose. Yeah, there we go. All right, I'm done. So now I'm going to go and have a drink. As Sean says, I'm going to go and put the kettle on. Hopefully you have enjoyed looking at this and having a little bit of a chat with me. Yes, I'll do more out of the book. If you want to see me do another tutorial and maybe come on later on in the week or at the weekend and do another live stream while we do another tutorial, I can definitely do that. Hopefully that's something you want to see. If it is, let me know. But yeah, so thank you for watching. I hope you have a really nice rest of your week and just catch up on your comments. Slightly different. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very, very much, Pickle, and thank you everybody for your support as usual. You're all fantastic. I absolutely adore every single one of you. Another episode of Clairvoyant. Yes, I do have my tarot cards here, but I'll be completely honest with you, I can't be bothered. So I'll have to do some more tarot cards at a future session. But yeah, thank you so much everybody, and I will say bye for now. And thanks for chatting to me.